How did the support I received in school help me achieve my goals? Well, from the day one in first year to my last day in fifth year, I always had such a close-knit relationship with my guidance teacher. She helped me through, you know, going into first year, going into care, like I didn't sit an exam, but you know, all the assessments we done to get our grades during the COVID years, she was always there every step of the way. She was always checking in on me, asking how I was. She always offered me so much support, no matter what it was, whether it was personal, to do with school, just anything. So I always knew I wanted to leave secondary at fifth year and go straight to university. So we were always talking about, you know, how we were going to do this, what supports do I need in place, how much support do I need in certain classes. We were always talking about it, and we were always honest with each other and saying, well, actually, I think you might need a bit more in this, I need a bit more in that. We're just always honest and constantly talking about it and working together to make sure their goals were the same. Very much so, the support was step by step, you know, from it could change on a weekly basis, it could change on a monthly basis, but whatever I needed, I knew I was going to get. I would just go and ask, you know, can I get a bit of time out of this class to go and catch up on some maths or English, and I knew I could always get it as long as I was just open and honest with her and, you know, explained, like, I feel like I'm slipping a wee bit here, or can you get in contact with this teacher, I'm needing a wee bit more support. I could always just have it, and it was there, and she would always help me, and she, you know, she'd say, look, I can do this and this, let's work together, let's get this done, let's get you to the next step. How will the support I received shape me and help me with others? Definitely it taught me the type of teacher that I want to become, so seeing a teacher that was so nurturing, so caring and so passionate about not just me but other pupils made me realise that, you know, that's the teacher I want to be. I want to be that teacher. Next steps in my education journey are obviously to get my degree in primary teaching and to, you know, secure a job after my probation year and go and then, you know, inspire and bring up the next generation of hopefully teachers and other professionals that we need in the world, and, you know, help guide other children that have maybe struggled at home or just need a wee bit more support, just help them get to where they want to be and in the best way possible, and making sure that the supports that they need are in place, and yeah, just being the best teacher I can be.
Hi, let me introduce myself. I'm Trish McQueen, a fully qualified additional support needs teacher for 3 to 18-year-olds. The majority of my teaching experience has taken place in the Central Belt, initially in North and East Ayrshire, followed by a few years in Glasgow, where I taught on the initial teacher education programmes at the University of Strathclyde, then returned to school teaching in West Lothian, before moving to the Highlands just over a year ago. It is such a privilege to have been invited to speak on behalf of the EIS today, and to bring this presentation on supporting us in inclusive practice, a teacher perspective. I worked as a youth worker for community education and church youth groups for many years before becoming a qualified teacher in my early 30s. I initially qualified in secondary religious, moral and philosophical studies back in 2006, and later migrated into additional support needs as I missed working with young people in a more directly supportive way. You see, my early career in youth work had given me a real passion for working with young people and supporting their development, which is why teaching itself was such a natural progression for me. I've been working with young people now for over 30 years, and I still get so much fulfilment from each interaction. Being able to help people and help meet their needs is so important to me. This is part of my teacher identity. This is who I am and why I do what I do. It's to make a difference in the lives of young people. It's very telling that there's no initial teacher education into additional support needs. Rather, it's a progressive career choice where you must already be a teacher to take on this very important role. It requires experience in teaching and a knowledge of the systems and processes in schools, and capacity to build on these experiences and knowledge. Becoming an ESN teacher is usually driven by a desire within you and an appreciation of the specialism required. That is why having an ASN qualification was important to me. It shows real dedication and a willingness to grow and develop my teaching capacity, skills and knowledge, allowing me greater job satisfaction and further motivating me to work to the best of my ability, which is again part of my teacher identity. Although I have an ASN qualification, it is not a necessary requirement for teaching additional support needs. I self-funded my ASN qualification, which I gained from participating in a university master's course in inclusive practice. The great thing about the Masters is that it comes with many module options, allowing you to choose which are right for you, which tend to be those most prevalent in your current practice. For me, at the time, it was neurodiversities, so I chose modules around autism, ADHD, dyslexia, children's rights and participation, at the exclusion of many others. I was therefore very excited to see the EIS were working with the University of Strathclyde to bring teachers specialist ASN-based professional learning. I'm thrilled to have been able to benefit from that EIS 10-week ASN course, which started I think around this time last year and spanned quite a few months. The course itself covered 10 topics, which filled gaps in my knowledge and gave me wider perspective on additional support needs and inclusive practice, to include things like trauma, special educational behaviour needs, speech and language, complex additional support needs and much more. This impacted positively on my teaching, as more knowledge gave me greater confidence when dealing with all people involved in the lives of young people with additional support needs, particularly professionals. I cannot describe the benefits of being recognised as a specialist and being given autonomy and agency within this role. Additional support needs teachers acting on their own initiative and not being micromanaged is the most positive way for schools to approach ASN. Fortunately, this was my experience in my most recent primary school in Highland and within my previous high school in West Lothian. As well as being given autonomy, I was given time and space to implement provision. By this, I mean being given various spaces to use, such as a classroom, innovation or sensory rooms, meeting rooms, nurture rooms, this kind of thing. Being given unrestricted time to have contact with pupils, teachers, parents, professionals, external agencies, and time to observe and implement, and reflect and change what doesn't work and do more of what does. That time to reflect, implement, observe, and take feedback from everyone possible. I cannot stress enough the importance of that time, of reflective practice to enable change. Having a holistic approach, one that involves everyone in the child's life, is at the heart of additional support needs and is the essence of GIRFEC. Relationships are therefore key to the success of any additional support needs role. Building meaningful and sustainable relationships with pupils, teachers, support staff, parents and other professionals and agencies takes time. So being given time to develop these relationships is crucial, as it is often with investing the time that the trust comes. It is so important that each person you interact with feels seen and heard. Your approach as an ASN teacher often leads to bridging the gap between other professional services and parents or young people. It's equally important that you can speak with everyone in and on their terms. So understanding the terminologies used by professionals is equally important as being able to speak with parents about these in a way that's accessible to them and with young people. Your input is key, your approach is what matters, so meet people where they are. So let's reflect on what's been said. The EIS is supporting us to support them. Being given opportunities to participate in such valuable professional learning by the EIS has been extremely positive for me. We as colleagues further support each other to support our young people, parents and other agencies by working collegiately. And being given teacher autonomy and time to work collegiately with young people, parents, colleagues and other professionals is an integral part of the additional support needs role. Let's remember too the positives I spoke about from my experiences of being given autonomy, such as time to form those relationships and do all the necessary parts of additional support needs, which include observation, reflection and intervention in those cycles. Being given the use of spaces. These are the things that improved outcomes for everyone. My message in a nutshell is to invest in specialists and give them time to do their very important work. And so I'll leave with you the reason, the why we do what we do. And I'd like to remind you that all teachers have a responsibility to meet the additional support needs of the pupils in their schools. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.